Peace, family. Happy full moon in Cancer. If you saw the previous A Deck a Day, then you did hear that I promised for sharing an extended reading for this full moon energy. So here it is. We're going to dive in, starting with the Moonology deck. We're going to use this deck as a foundation in regards to the messages that we are receiving from the moon energy, also given the general energy with the retrogrades with Mercury and with Venus. And then I'm going to continue with other decks for clarification, confirmation, and affirmation. So let us begin and start off giving thanks to Earth Mother, giving thanks to our ancestors, our angels, to the Most High, for the messages, for the collective in regards to this full moon in Cancer, amidst the retrogrades that are here and present. And we ask for guidance and clarification in regards to the foundation of this energy that the rest of the cards are going to build on to give us added guidance. Give thanks. Ashe, Ashe, Asheo. Foundation energy. What is our foundation energy? Give thanks. Thanks, Spirit, for our foundation. Saw that? All right. I wanted to stay in my hand. So, our foundation that we are going to build on to get, this is the root of the situation. This is what everything is being built on. This is the energy of what is happening right now. And we're going to get further into the reading, and it's all going to culminate and explain this further. Bring love into the situation. New moon in Aquarius energy. I've been having a lot of conversations about love lately, and with multiple people. Major shout out to my big sis Tash, because we've been going in on this love thing, and a lot of reflection, particularly through this Venus retrograde. No accident that we are getting bring love into the situation with a full moon in Cancer, which is all about our emotions, that is being supercharged with this Venus retrograde, and in regards to Mercury retrograde, which is fastest moving planet, which is about communication. And it's important for us to, again, reflect during this time, to reassess during this time, to reevaluate during this time, all of those rewords. And through it, when we think about bringing love into the situation, it's a lot easier to do that when we are taking that time. Again, mirror work, if you saw my previous post in regards to this moon energy, as well as A Deck a Day, which I would advise you checking out just in case. They're not as related per se. Again, it really depends on what comes out later, but I may refer to a lot of things that came out in that reading since they were done back to back. So you definitely want to think about bringing love into the situation and how important mirror work is in order for you to be honest with yourself and therefore able to be honest with other people. Oftentimes when people say you lied to me and they take offense to being lied to, the truth of the matter is that oftentimes we're lying to ourselves. And as a result of lying to ourselves, it's impossible for us to be honest with somebody else. So it's not a purposeful lie in some ways. It really is that in some ways we feel like we are telling the truth. In some ways we don't even realize that we're telling a lie because we're just telling ourselves that same thing. So this as our root, we're definitely going to go a little bit deeper in regards to this, bringing love into the situation that again is perfectly aligned with this energy that we're dealing with right now with this full moon in Cancer, the most, one of the most emotional signs. We're in the water, right? Aries is an air sign, but it is the water bearer. So that definitely brings in the, double element in regards to water coming in, despite Aquarius being an air sign, and just highlighting that water, which is about the emotions, which is very heavy cups energy in the tarot. So I'd be curious to see which is next. What comes through, Pamela Coleman Smith, we speak your name and give thanks for your symbology, for your intuition, for everything that you have put into the root of Oracle for us to use these divinatory tools to access the realms and get this guidance for self and for the collective. Give thanks. Ashe. We look for clarification with our Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck in regards to bringing love into the situation. So I will leave that right there. Give thanks. What is the clarification that we need, Spirit, in regards to bringing love into this situation, into our situations, into all situations? Oh, I'm going to take that flip over. Okay. Give thanks, give thanks. All right. Bringing love into the situation while we deal with Venus retrograde. Mercury retrograde for a full wolf moon in Cancer. Thanks. Okay, I'm going to stop there as those two flip out. All right. Yeah, if you get a chance to take a listen to the initial deck-a-day, there's definitely a lot of alignment here, so that might help. Or listen to it after. It's totally fine. It's up to you. But no cups, which is an interesting energy, because especially looking at what this is, it's letting us know what it is that we need to do tangibly before we even delve in to this emotional reflection. There's so much that is on the surface that needs to be dealt with before we go into the depths of the water. That's what's coming through very, very clearly with this. We've got our 8 of Pentacles. Pentacles energy is earth energy in terms of the element. Pentacles are our health and our wealth. This is the craftsman that is working very, very diligently on his craft, on his art, on his brand, on his business, whatever it is. We are distracted in some ways getting this busy work done, and it's making us not pay attention to what it is that we're feeling, what it is that is deep down, because we're just staying very, very focused. It's important to be focused. It's important to hone your skill and your talent and your craft. This card, you know, when I think about my go hard, my grind, my hustle, this card like epitomizes me. But it's important, again, to not get too focused on the busy work, on the grind, on the hustle, where you're not paying attention to matters of the heart, to self-love, to self-care, to your relationships, to the people that matter to you. I'm getting that in alignment as well with the 9 of Pentacles, because this card is, well, like so completely aligned with this card that brings in self-sufficiency, that brings in that abundance, that, you know, this empress in some ways, this queen in some ways, this princess in some way, this lady, you know, that is like so in charge, so self-sufficient, so independent, like has got her ish together energy. And there is an independence that is very highlighted here, particularly because you on your grind, you got your money right, you doing what you're doing. But again, this energy, if it's about bring love into the situation, the reason that I feel like this is such an important foundation card, and that now we're getting clarification in regards to this foundation card, is because it's telling us to bring love into the situation, which means we may not be doing that right now. We may be focusing on everything else. We may be closed off. We may be, you know, upset, hurt about a lot of things that are bubbling up to the surface. And Venus is bringing up a lot. Venus retrograde is bringing up a lot for a lot of us in regards to inner child stuff, in regards to past relationships, current relationships, whether personal, platonic, professional, passionate. It brings up a lot. That's what it's supposed to do. But if we stay too focused on, I'ma just focus on my business, I'ma just focus on my stuff, I'ma just focus on me, then we're not bringing love into the situation in a general sense for us to really look at the full scope of things. And I know that I'm, you know, just speaking through in regards to this channeling, because I'm getting the message very directly for myself as well, because I know that I'm about this life and not as much thinking about bringing love into the situation and want people be doing me wrong. Like, I'm just not always thinking about that in that moment. I'm just like, all right, you do you, I'm gonna do me. You do you, and I'm gonna do me. And again, that's separation. That's not bringing love into the situation. So clarification is quite clear. That's what's resonating, definitely. We've got the Judgment card. That did come reversed, but I do read reversals in a general sense, but not, too on point. I always flip it up and give the actual message itself of the card. And the Judgment is, when you look at this energy, just looking at this card, you're definitely seeing this kind of angelic force, this ancestral energy, most high vibe. This is creator energy that is heralding in news, that is heralding in some type of announcement, some type of declaration in a sense. And it's telling us, that horn blowing is telling us that it is time to make a decision, that it's time to make a judgment call, that it's kind of now or never type of energy. And it's important to hone in on that, because if we do have the choice of focusing on the money and our health and wealth, right? But we're kind of ignoring love, or we're not necessarily bringing love into the situation, this is the judgment that we need to, again, take this time during these retrogrades to reassess, to reevaluate, to reaffirm, to whatever it is that we need to redo in accordance to make sure that we are making the right final decision. It really is a time of making a final decision. We've got 2 10s here. This is a 20 card. It's bringing in a new cycle, something fresh and new coming in. And once we make that call, we're off to the races in, again, a new dawn kind of energy. So keep that in mind. It's really about getting clarity. I love the fact that this is the clarification portion of this reading, of this extended reading, and we're getting the card about clarity. And it's important for us to now, again, take this time to reevaluate our emotions and reflect on that. Express as much as we can. Again, mirror work. Start with expressing to yourself. Be honest with yourself, and that way you're able to be more honest with other people, and bringing in this energy of clarity, of being able to express and share that particular clarity. And it's a wake-up call. It's really, again, that horn blowing and coming in and saying, like, dun, da, 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 it's time to figure this out. It is time to, and again, the figure it out is important to be mindful of in regards to retrogrades, because it's not the time to make the call. It's a time to figure out what the call is, so that when it's about make the decision, and you reflect on the decision before you share what that decision is. You have to be, again, clarity is key here. You have to be absolutely sure as to what it is that you feel, that you think, that you want to do, how you want to move forward with this energy. Really, really important to think about that, because it's aligned with your life's purpose. This angel coming in, again, that's where this ancestral angelic energy comes in, because it's the most high energy. It is that high vibration, that higher self energy that is saying, listen, this is about who you are fundamentally to your core, what you want to do for the rest of your life, who you want to share it with. You need to figure out what that is in order for you to be aligned with your purpose, because if not, then you may continue with patterns that will derail you from your purpose. You may surround yourself with entities, energies that will deter you from your life's purpose. And it's important to really look at yourself again first, reevaluate everything, everyone, starting with yourself, in order for you to know the steps, the choices that you're going to continue to make, the judgments that you're going to continue to make going forward. We're not looking at judgment as a negative thing, as a pointing fingers kind of holier than thou self-importance, because, oh my goodness, self-importance is like another pandemic, okay? Don't get me started. We don't want to do that. Like, self-importance is worse than ego, straight up. You don't want to do that. It's not judgment in that sense. It's about making a judgment for yourself, because you do get to decide what you accept and what you don't accept. You don't judge others. It's not about judging, but it's about making a judgment. And there's a very specific difference between those two. Then we've got the High Priestess, which, energetically came in a deck a day. So if you remember that, that'll come through for you. And if not, I won't, spoiler alert, take a listen afterwards. But the intuition aspect of things is very, very highlighted here. And the moon, the full moon, is literally what the High Priestess energy is all about. Other than the moon card, this is a moon card in tarot. And you have the energy of intuition. You have the energy of things that may be hidden, you know, things that are under the veil, secrets that need to be revealed. Again, revealed is another RE word in that sense. So you can align that in so many ways with this retrograde energy, because if it's not yet revealed, it's because you have to now reflect. You have to look into whatever it is that's still hidden, that still needs to be uncovered in that way, you know, in regards to secrets and mystery and intuition. Intuition is key. This is the card of intuition, which again is what aligns with today's earlier a deck a day, and thinking about, you know, being honest with yourself because of the trust that you're able to have with yourself, for yourself. If you do that mirror work and you can lie to yourself, looking at your own self, you're looking into your eyes in the mirror, then you don't trust yourself. And that is something to start with reevaluating. That's the first thing to pay attention to, because at the end of the day, it is harder to lie to yourself when you're looking in your own eyes in the mirror. But if you're still able to do that, you got to dig deeper. You got to bring love into the situation. Again, I'm going to fall back to this every single time, especially as it's our foundation card, because loving self-love is the most powerful love. You're not really, as the cliche goes, which is true, you can't really love another until you love yourself. You really can't. There's a limit to it. Whatever box you've put yourself in terms of how you love you, nobody's going to be able to get more from you that you're not able to give yourself. Something's got to give. Like, something is going to implode, something's going to happen. It's not going to be as pure as it can be. And until you're able to bring love into the situation in terms of starting with yourself, trusting your intuition, realizing that you do have to go in deep. This is, again, aligns with inner child work, that you may have to do that in order for you to continue to move forward and express what needs to be expressed in regards to, you know, looking at all of this reflection, revision, reevaluating energy that comes through. So that is that energy. And then we've got the Five of Swords, and Five of Swords energy is, you know, brings in potential conflict. And I really do feel straight up that Spirit is speaking. This is inner conflict. This is not even about an us versus them energy. This full moon right now, these retrogrades right now, is about us. It's about our internal work. This is about the macro, micro level of things, that whatever is happening as above is happening so below. Whatever's happening on a systematic level, we have examples of that in our particular personal relationships or professionally or whatever it is. And we're being tested in many ways to value ourselves, to fight, to be able to say, you know what? I'm going to be honest with myself. I am going to take responsibility. I am going to be accountable in regards to changing my reality. This is a time, again, to you bring love into the situation, self-love, so that when you are looking at yourself, you're able to even give yourself that tough love. This is tough love. This bringing love into the situation, this is the tough love that we need as well, especially if we're looking in that mirror and we're not really being honest. Again, if we're able to lie to ourselves, if we're able to not trust ourselves, like, you know, it's potentially coming through in regards to the High Priestess energy. So it's interesting for this to also come out right after the High Priestess, because it kind of shows a consequence if we're not able to do that intuition work, if we're not able to look inward, if we're not able to trust ourselves and be honest with ourselves and, you know, express what needs to be expressed in that safe space of just self, you know. So it creates a lot of internal conflict. It creates a lot of denial and a lot of dilemma and a lot of confusion and all of these things. And again, this is the clarification portion of our foundation. It's very clear. This is very kind of, you know, action-oriented steps in regards to what it is that we need to do. But this one kind of shows a consequence if we don't do what we need to do. This is the conflict in this that's coming through is very clearly, this is what's going to happen internally. You're going to be fighting your own self the same way you're choosing to lie to yourself, lie to your higher self, because now you're creating division between you and your soul's purpose. You're creating division between you and your higher self. And as a result, your higher self is now going to feel betrayed, is now going to feel like, you know what, you don't even trust me. Who can you trust? You don't even love me. Who do you love? Where are you going to bring love into the situation if you can't even bring it between you and me, between us, between we? So as a result, it just creates this dichotomy. It creates this duality in a sense between you and yourself. You, your ego self, and your soul self. And unless you're able to integrate, and unless you're able to, again, be intuitive enough to say, you know what, I honor my intuition, I honor my higher self, and I know that there's stuff that may be uncomfortable, but I have to start being comfortable with being uncomfortable in order for me to truly bring love into the situation. And love is love. At the end of the day, people may consider it indefinable, it is relative, it is subjective, it is all of those things. Some people may even say, what's love got to do with it? Like Miss Tina, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes we do feel that way, but unfortunately that leads us here. It really does. Love has its place in a very specific way. When I say what's love got to do with it, I'm not denouncing the fact that you got to give me more than just telling me you love me. I need respect, I need adoration, I need admiration, I need honor, I need respect more than anything. So I'm gonna say that again, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I get that, absolutely. But again, foundation, if love is your foundation, you can build upon that with everything else. But if you keep love out, you can't build on anything. You can't build something solid. In that sense, the respect is not enough. The admiration is not enough. The adoration is not enough. If you don't feel the love, if you don't feel the love, and again, you got to feel that for you first. If you don't feel it for you first, you can't express that. You can't even expect that from someone else. Like, that's real too. So I usually don't do any splices, but you may notice that there was a splice there because Mercury retrograde doing its thing, and my camera just totally shut off. And I'm back and gonna try to keep the momentum going. But what I was saying mid-sentence was that oftentimes we have expectations from someone else to love us in a very specific way, or to do certain things to prove how much they love us. And there are things that we don't even do for ourselves. There's things that we don't even expect of ourselves. And that bring love into the situation is very, very key in regards to that. Because if we do for us what it is that we hope somebody else does for us, we don't even have to tell them that that's what we want. It's a vibration that we put out. And we're also blocking ourselves from certain energy that is not equipped to give us what it is that we want. We've already put ourselves in a completely different vibrational frequency in order to attract exactly that kind of love, because that's the kind of love that we are emitting, that we are putting out, that we are infusing in ourselves. That's the kind of love that is filling up our own cup and letting others drink of the overflow. And whoever comes through knows, yo, she on point with the self-love. I'm gonna have to come correct because she's going to spot me a mile away. And they'll stay away if they're not ready and not up to the task. Or at the very least, they're going to choose to grow with you. They're going to choose to hear you. They're going to choose to love, respect, honor, admire, all of those things with, again, love at the foundation. Because they're clear, they will be able to see so clearly what it is that your definition of love is primarily for yourself, your valuing of yourself, your honoring of yourself, all of that. So again, the Five of Swords energy, and that is coming through for me in regards to the potential is, if we don't do what it takes to bring love into the situation, if we get too kind of distracted, you know, of convincing ourselves that we don't need love right now, that we're just gonna because of all the stuff that they did and the stuff and all of those things, and we're not really being honest with ourselves, and we're not making the decisions that need to be made in order for us to reevaluate and move forward, we're creating an opportunity for a lot of conflict. We're creating a kind of bullying kind of energy as well. Again, very internally, very much, again, that concept of lying to ourselves, of being in denial, of making excuses, you know, all of that. And it creates an energy of even violence within ourselves, because at the end of the day, even if we are purposely lying to ourselves and trying to convince ourselves that that's true, our higher self knows the truth, our soul knows the truth, and as a result, it creates a rift within our own person, within our own psyche, within our own soul, our mind, our heart. And definitely not worth it if we are trying to create positive, loving relationships. This is the kind of thing that actually brings in an abusive type of dynamic. And if again we're focusing on this internal alignment, then think about an abusive relationship that you can be in with yourself. Think about looking at yourself in the mirror, in your face, in your eyes, the windows to the soul, and lying to yourself. Think about gaslighting yourself. Think about, you know, again, trying to convince yourself of something that you know deep down is not true. When somebody else does something like that, when you don't align with what it is that you know makes you feel good in terms of your purpose, when you don't eat right, again, this Pentacles energy is also about taking care of yourself. The self-love energy is about taking care of yourself. So when you don't self-care, when you don't eat the right things, if you're still, you know, engaging in certain habits that you know are not good for your health, all of that creates a notion of self-abuse. And that's an energy of Five of Swords. It's just that the relationship abuse, this particular abuse, has nothing to do with another person, and you're not a victim at someone else's hands. You're a victim at your own. You know what I mean? So it's important to think about that, bringing love into the situation when we do think about those abusive tendencies that we may have for ourselves. Again, just even by not taking care of ourselves and not doing the things that we know will be better for us, whether it's diet, whether it's, again, habits like drinking or smoking or whatever it is, we know certain things at this point are not good for us, but we indulge, or we do, or we're addicted, or all of that stuff. But that's very low vibrational behaviors. It is what it is. No judgment. No judgment, but I'm gonna keep it real because you know it is. And these are the things that you got to say to yourself in the mirror. Like, yo, I'm still doing that. If I'm still doing that, then I'm not really ready for this ascension. Because if I was really ready for this ascension, the first thing I would do is eliminate the things that harm me. That would eliminate the things that would create conflict between my soul and my body. All of those things is what the mirror work is about, is what this bringing love into the situation is about. And making sure that you are treating yourself and your soul and your body with the utmost, especially if we're talking about bringing love externally into the situation, finding that one. You can't find that one when you're mistreating yourself, because you're also then opening yourself up to a dynamic that will feel okay to mistreat you, because you are giving off an energy that there's certain things that you can get away with because there's certain things that I let myself get away with. It's not, you know, again, that's a vibrational alignment. So if you know that you don't want that externally to bring you that kind of drama, that kind of dynamic, that kind of treatment, you have to stop doing it to yourself first. You have to stop doing it to yourself first. It just is what it is. So we're all on the journey. We're figuring it out, but that's what's coming through. And confirmation in regards to the clarification, I'm going to align with Lenormand. This is the deck that I used in today's or earlier's deck a day, or yesterday's. It depends on when I post this, because YouTube be giving me problems sometimes, so I don't even know when it's going to post up. But I did do these readings back to back, aligned with full moon energy that peaked yesterday evening at 6:48 p.m. Give thanks. Confirmation, this clarification based on this foundation. What would you have us know to confirm the messages coming through? Give thanks. I do like to shuffle on screen so that you guys see, you know, that it's real-time energy. And I also don't pick the cards. I let spirit pick the cards, as you can see, and that's also why I shuffle on screen. And I know that it takes more time, it prolongs the reading, but it's the energy. For me, I mean, I follow instructions. It can't be any other way. They tell me what to do. They pull the cards, and it's got to be that way because that's how I know that you guys are going to get what you really need to get. Oh my goodness, the amount of cards coming through right now. Wow. Okay, so first off, let me try to move some of these so that we can get you to see the Lenormand. All right. So we've got, I'm just going to go through in a general sense, and then we're going to bang it out. We've got the stars right here, okay? We've got the owls, all right? We got the tree, okay? And again, now we're in the confirmation from this clarification from the notion here of our foundation, okay? We've got the letter. We've got the journal, which very aligns with the letter. It's actually 26 and 27. And we've got the crossroads. I'm going to start with the crossroads because it's very much aligned with our judgment card. Our judgment card tells us to make a decision. Final decision. Figure it out. What is it that you want to do? You go through everything. You're doing your reflection moment during these retrogrades, and then you pick a path. That's really what the crossroads energy is about. It's about a potential dilemma. It's about thinking about all of these divided options and directions and options that you can take in regards to the path, in regards to the direction. And you got to pick one. Like, that's the real thing. Judgment card is about picking one. Final decision, meaning you may have a dilemma, you may be juggling things, and you need to be very affirmative right now in regards to what it is that you're choosing. If we're aligning it with the information that's been coming through clarification in regards to bringing love into the situation, it's very blatant in regards to what is it that you want to do? Where is the focus? This is about self-love. This is about looking inward. This is about figuring out the matters of the heart and what matters to you. If you are at this crossroads, at any crossroads, and you are still unsure of which direction to take, it's that much more reason to be confirmed that you are not in tune with your heart. You're not starting with your heart. You're not feeling it to heal it. You're not taking that time to do shadow work, mirror work, just aligning with self and source, with your soul, because there's confusion, because you're still, again, very unsure, and that's okay. It's just important to now think about taking the time, especially with Venus retrograde giving us that support, to focus on the tangibles and the materials in many ways of love, of value, of worthiness. And as a result, how that's going to influence you to take certain steps forward for yourself and for your purpose and for your future. Bringing love into the situation, and the alignment with this crossroads energy is, which path do you think you are at the end of? That's the road that you take. That's self-love energy. You take the road of love. If you look down one path and you don't feel and see love there, that's not where you go. It's very clear. You go down the path where you know love is on the other side, and love is going to meet you on that other side. Stars energy is aligning with hope, is aligning with, thinking about, again, as above, so below energy is so poignant and comes through in everything because it is what it is. But we are literally stars. We are constellations. We are made of actual star stuff. So when we think again about that micro macro energy, which I either just mentioned or in the deck a day, it's really important for us to pay attention to the things that are happening in the stars are happening here on Earth, because we are still among the stars. When we think about the cosmos, we think about the galaxy, we think about the solar system, technically there really is no as above, so below, because we are in orbit together. And that is why I also pay attention to the fact that as above, so below is not about duality. It's about reflection. It's about mirror. So the fact that this energy is so poignantly about reflection and about mirror work, and realizing that when you say as above below, it means that what is above is below, versus it being an opposite in some ways, it is the same. So when we think about ourselves as stars, because we are, how can you not love yourself? How could you not revel at yourself in the mirror? The same way that you revel at a beautiful night sky. You are literally that. That is exactly what you should be focusing on when you focus on yourself. This is aligning very clearly with our High Priestess, because it's about intuition. It's about, again, trusting that intuition, trusting how marvelous you are. This is aligning with Newt energy, because that is our mother sky, and that same divine feminine energy, creation energy, and realizing the alignment with the stars makes us so incredibly spectacular that there is no alternative but to love ourselves completely. Again, which is what also aligns with not getting distracted in terms of the busy work, in terms of just focusing on the money and thinking that we don't need love, or we don't need, again, the don't need love is also part of the don't need self-love. The two go hand in hand. If you close yourself off to love, there's a certain faucet that you're turning off in regards to loving yourself as well. So you have to be mindful of that. Because love is just love. Love is across the board, right? You don't get to decide, I'm going to turn the tap off on love for you, and you, and think that that's not going to do something to you. You know, that pinches you off as well, automatically. And again, in aligning with, our Five of Swords in regards to, the potential conflict, internal conflict that is going to arise when you don't see yourself and treat yourself as the star that you are, when you are not honoring yourself enough to be honest, to not abuse yourself, to, not make choices, addictive choices or habitual choices that are potentially causing illness. Again, health and wealth is part of the Pentacles energy, or slowing you down in some ways, or again, just causing potential illness or harm to your body, to your mind, to your soul, to your heart, because of these patterns, because of these habits or whatever it is. We always say when we know better, we do better, but sometimes we don't, even when we know. Sometimes we still kind of do the same thing, even when we know that we shouldn't. And it's only when we actually do. And that's why during this time, it's like everybody gets a pass right now. Literally, it's like, yeah, I guess I should stop doing that. But technically, I don't have to do anything right now because Mercury's in retrograde and Venus is in retrograde. So I can just reflect right now. It's true. So you get carte blanche, you get a pass between now and technically February 3rd. But, retro shade, give you a couple weeks after that. But then you got to get on it. And then that's when you got to do the better from what you know better. You have to. If you want harmony, if you want love, if you choose to bring love into the situation, if you choose to not have this internal conflict or self-abuse, instead of choosing to honor yourself and revel at yourself like the star that you are, right? We've got the owls, which is so on point for our Mercury retrograde, because this is about communication. This is about vision. It's about thinking about partnership and pairing up. So again, we're thinking about bringing love into the situation. You got to start with the one. You got to do that mirror work. You got to align so that you could bring in the pairing. You could bring in that soulmate, twin flame kind of energy that everybody wants if they don't have it already. But oftentimes the thing that holds us back from it is that we are not bringing love into the situation, starting with our own self-love based on how we are treating ourselves consistently, and as a result, the energy that we are emitting and putting out into the universe and to external dynamics because of our lack of personal value. Communication is key after you do this self-reflection work, after you do this self-love work, after you do this mirror work, and then you can bring in that moment of expression. Again, the 3 keywords that I downloaded that align with this particular energy for this full moon, really was bringing in the notion of reflection, was bringing in the notion of emotions, was bringing in the notion of, just looking at the expression that comes only after you reflect on your emotions. So that communication comes later, which makes perfect sense because again, you're at a crossroads and you can only express once you get to that choice. Once you figure it out for yourself, you're like, yes, this is where I want to go. You get there, and that's where your tribe is. And then you get to express to your tribe what your path was like, okay? What the journey was like and how you found yourself here down this road. Tree energy aligning again with health. So I'm really, the download is coming in so heavy with this. Bring love into the situation in regards to self-love and the patterns and the choices that we're making that are creating internal conflict and that are potentially affecting our health, quite literally. That we are very focused on the money in regards to the Pentacles energy, but we are not thinking as much as we should in regards to our health, in regards to the choices in terms of diet, in terms of addictive habits, all of these things that create patterns, that create patterns, that create patterns, and then all of a sudden it's something that just is, and we can brush it under the rug because I'll stop tomorrow. I'll stop one day. We have to really remember that the future is now, and we can't get there from here if this is the vibration and this is the choice that we're making. Whatever choice we're making now, whatever emotions we harbor now and we hold on to, there's no way that tomorrow we're going to just automatically feel different if we're not actively making conscious decisions, tangible decisions to do different, to do other. So keep that in mind. It's definitely, again, confirmation in regards to the clarification here with this tree in regards to aligning the pentacles in terms of our focus or lack of focus on our health. So think about that because the message is coming in, especially in regards to aligning with nature and grounding ourselves. And, the weather's different now for a lot of us, obviously, depending on where you live. But when you can be out under the sun, be out under the sun. When you can ground your feet with no socks and shoes on and just be under a tree, like you should do that. This card is also very poignant in regards to reflection, right? Because you can see the tree as above, so below. You can see the reflection of the tree. This is again bringing us right back to mirror work, bringing us right back to being honest with ourselves and holding ourselves to task, being accountable for the choices that we're making and the feelings, the emotions that we have, so that we can move forward with clarity, with honesty in regards to our expression. This is very ancestrally aligned as well. Again, that as above, so below energy is letting us know that they're taking care of certain things up there, and it is on us to take care of certain things down here, especially when it comes to our own particular vision and our own path. At the end of the day, God helps those who help themselves. So if we are making the same poor decisions and the same choices and the same excuses and the same, again, low vibrational habits, or that are very clearly affecting our health or potentially shortening our lives, or all of the things that we take for granted because we don't feel any symptoms right now, because everything feels like it's all good, but the clock is ticking and time is going and we have no idea how we're potentially affecting or again, avoiding longevity in regards to our health based on the choices that we're making right now, based out of habit, based out of addiction, based out of, just kind of needing that particular crutch because of a lot of things we're not paying attention to. We're self-medicating. We just don't want to face it. We don't want to look in the mirror. We don't want to pay attention to these things. Or because we are doing that work, the things that are coming up are so overwhelming that we need that self-medication. We need that, I just want to forget this right now. So we take that drink, or we go out and smoke that cigarette, or we, you know what I mean? Like, or we take that, whatever it is, that we eat that food, or we have that sex, or we, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever that thing happens to be, we all have something. They're vices, they're addictions, they're, again, self-medicating. But there comes a point when you are on a specific journey and you know that there's a certain place that you want to end up, that you know that particular action will not serve you there. And in the meantime, holding on to that particular action or addiction or habit is what's keeping you from there. And that is the math, kind of is what it is. And then we've got the journal and the letter. The journal and the letter is about, the journal in particular is about study. It's about paying attention to what it is that we want to know. And if we want to know that thing, we do our homework. We do the work that it takes, right? The study is the study of self, the study of your soul. That is, again, where mirror work comes in. That's where that brutal honesty comes in, where we reflect as we look at our reflection and we say to ourselves, you know what? I'm taking more time to know me, to study me. I'm going to be, so many of us are students of so many things except ourselves. We know so many things except ourselves. We can be so on point and so consistent about so many things, but so inconsistent about ourselves. So disciplined about so many things, but so undisciplined in regards to ourselves. So this study that's coming through here, this notion of scripting, writing, journaling, quite literally, is part of the mirror work, is part of the reflection, is part of what we're supposed to be doing during this time, to learn ourselves, to study ourselves, be an expert on you. Everything else is going to fall into place. Don't worry so much about the books. Don't worry so much about the videos. Don't worry so much about worry about you. Again, bringing love into the situation is reminding us to love you. And if we have to think about priorities and investment, if we have a priority or an investment that is above ourselves, we're choosing to love something more than we love ourselves. First of all, it can't be full love, because again, it has to start with our unconditional love of self. And the way that we prove that is in our priority of self, is in our investment of self. Again, so many of us are very sensitive in regards to not feeling like somebody else's priority. Me too, you know what I'm saying? But if I have to be real, when I look into that mirror, I have to pay attention to the times that I did not prioritize myself. If I have to feel some type of way that somebody's not investing in me, I got to look in that mirror and think about how many times I didn't invest in me. And that's where I start. Forget everybody else. Forget everything else in regards to what you need to study up on and read up on. And again, a lot of the study and the writing and all of that is necessary if the focus, if the learning is about yourself, if there's supplemental materials in regards to the study of self. But make sure that they're not distractions. Make sure that they're not things that are just about getting you someplace or something versus getting you to you. And, the letter energy brings in the same writing notion, but it's about correspondence. This is where the communication comes in and hones in with our owls. Whatever method of communication is going to come through during this time for yourself in terms of this reflection, in terms of the journaling, in terms of, being true to yourself and studying of yourself. That's this reflection time during the retrograde energy. And then after that, you'll figure out and you'll have a lot more clarity and a lot more confirmation in regards to how it is that you want to express, how you want to, again, come together, because this is about a pairing now and being able to, all of the stuff that you've journaled, all of the stuff that you've studied and learned about, you now put down or you verbalize to the other, to whichever parties are involved, and that you do believe is not to say owed an expression or that clarity that you've come across, but if this is about tribe vibe, if this is about partnership, if this is about coming together with anybody in any kind of way, then you do want them to know who you are now, what you've discovered in this study of self and soul and source, and how it all aligns, and how you now are bringing love into the situation, and how it benefits you primarily, and obviously how it's going to benefit them. The letter aspect, again, could be quite literally writing a letter to yourself, writing a letter to this person or these people. Very cathartic to write letters to get your thoughts out, to express what you need to express to the people that are important to you, or the people that you realize you need to release. Sometimes you really do need to put it all down and say goodbye in that way. This could be in a text message if that's what it's going to be. If you realize, you know what, I don't even have that kind of time. I realize now that this is done, and I'm just going to let them know that it's done. Whatever it is, it's really about the correspondence. Whatever method it is, it really is about the correspondence. So that may be something that is very clearly coming up for you, coming after this retrograde time, because that's when you have the go-ahead to actually share all of the reflections and whatever it is that came through for you during that retrograde time to the people that you feel need to hear it, to the people you feel need to hear it. Not that you feel obligated or that you owe or anything like that, that you feel, I want you, I need you to know this new thing that I've discovered of myself in this self-love study, in this investment in me, in this prioritizing of me and bringing love into the situation. You are the situation. You are the situation. Bring love into the situation. Don't get it twisted and think that any external thing is the situation more than you're the situation. That you are the foundation, as this is the foundation card. You are the foundation of the situation. So definitely keep that in mind. And I'm going to conclude with an affirmation. And I may pull some charms. Let me get these charms and see what that is saying to tie it all up. So I give thanks for an affirmation. This is a crystal deck, so it's also going to give you a crystal that you should get your hands on and work with, and kind of an action step, or depending on what comes through in regards to the message in this card, or the cards, whatever comes out. We're gonna go with this. Ooh, see what I'm saying? Shift your money mindset. Iolite. When you shift your money mindset, that is when the abundance comes through. Iolite crystal, if you can get your hands on, definitely align with that crystal. And the bringing love into the situation is an interesting foundation card for this to be an affirmation card, because we did get a whole lot of pentacles. Those were the first cards that came through in regards to our clarification. So it is important to do your busy work, do what you got to do to take care of your business, do what you got to do to be self-sufficient and all of that good stuff. But abundance means abundance of all kinds. If you don't bring love into the situation in regards to your money, then you're still pinching yourself off. And there's also a limit to your money mindset if your vibration is low, if you are not bringing love into the situation. Shifting your money mindset means removing scarcity. Removing scarcity is a notion that is going to come across in everything, which means it's going to come across in regards to your notion of love. And when you no longer have a scarcity mindset in regards to love, or money, or abundance in a general sense, or your health, again, we're thinking about how much health notion has come here. It's all aligned. We got in a deck a day, the clock tower, in one of the selections, because this is about your structure. This is about your body, your temple, your person. And you have to protect it. You have to honor it. You have to love it. And when you're able to do that, everything else flows. Everything flows in. You've completely opened your vessel up because you're purifying your vessel. You are honoring your vessel. You are loving your vessel. And then the energy loves you back across the board. So when you're able, again, to shift your money mindset, and I'm looking at the money, but I'm really honing in more on abundance, that I feel that this is about abundance in a general sense. Money, health, your wealth, love, relationships, your business, your brand, whatever it is that you want more of, you need to shift your mindset on it. And bringing love into the situation is the easiest way to make that shift. So keep that in mind. And again, focus on the abundance versus the money. Even though, again, that's where Pentacles energy is bringing in health and wealth, which brings in the notion of it being abundance in a general sense. So let's just grab some charms real quick. Super simple today. We got grounded growth. So definitely confirming the tree energy. When I mentioned earthing, it's reflection aspect as well, grounding yourself, being out in nature, so much clarification, confirmation, and affirmation comes in doing just that. And there is nothing more that can teach you about how to bring love into a situation than nature, than just sitting under a tree with your feet buried in grass on the soil. And then we got the key. And the key is letting us know very clearly that there are doors that are waiting for us to open. And there's a lot of very clear action items, things to put on our to-do list, want to-do list, in order for us to be able to open those doors. We are being given the key right now, very clearly. And all we have to do is open them and walk through them. And everything's going to be on the other side. So shift the mindset, bring love into the situation again as our foundation. Shifting your abundance mindset is such a beautiful buffering, such a beautiful bordering of this reading. And then to get, the fact that we have the keys, they've basically given us all of the keys in order for us to do that. And one of the main things is, it's back to natural. This is the back to natural. You can't go wrong with that. So stay in tune, stay connected, and be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Do that mirror work, guys. I'm telling you, it's everything. And I'm not done. I'll be on some mirror work for a minute through this thing. So join me. I hope that all resonated. I do personal readings, so please do touch base. $1 a minute. I try to be accessible to my peeps. So hit me up if you need some personal guidance, and it would be an absolute honor to have that trust. Until the next time to get back to natural. Peace.